Greetings and welcome to another episode of Success Secrets Show. Do you have a deep desire to become an entrepreneur and create your own startup? Are you stuck in your entrepreneurship journey to create success for yourself? Or you are a founder, co-founder, or a business owner, or a course creator who have had a great start and now need help in taking it to the next level? Let me share with you, you are not alone. In case you don't know me, my name is Muhammad Usama and I am the host of Success Secrets Show. And today we have an amazing guest with us. He is the guy you call when your online course is not selling. He spends most of his time in Thailand. He is the host of Smart Brand Marketing Show. In the past, he has published around 5,000 Kindle books, built a successful SEO business, owned a coffee shop, a retail store, a record label, created a documentary, and released two albums with five hits on top 10 Polish radio. And the list goes and it goes on and on. Tom, welcome to the show. How did you do that all this?
Thanks for having me on. Uh, I just finish what I start. That's usually the main thing. That's how you get a lot of things done. You basically start something, finish it, and then put it behind you. So yeah. But it's a big resume. I know.
All right, thank you so much. So, Tom, let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who were you surrounded with that really inspired you to actually promote online courses for others?
Um, well, I've been doing marketing and sales for a long time. But if you want to talk specifically about this business, so before I had a marketing agency, right? And in this agency, we sold to everybody, which is, a good thing, but it's also bad at the same time because you don't really
Yeah.
narrow down. You're not the best in your area, right? So someone would say like, why would I choose you over Jay Abraham or one of these, Dan Kennedy? I'm like, well, if you can afford them, there's zero reason. They're probably better. So what we thought is if we can narrow in, and I actually had some experience with online courses from one of my previous customers, I could become a big fish in a small pond. And that's what I did. Once we entered this market, we were booked almost immediately. And it's been like that. Well, so what happened over the last few years is we refined our model. So now we get better clients, get paid more, and do less work, right? And bring more value. That's something that, happened over the last couple of years. Initially, we were just taking anybody on and just trying to help. But, we also want to have a good business. So often by niching down in a service, you create a much better business. Maybe it's not as scalable, but I would not recommend scaling a service business at all. That's what online courses are for, productized services, software, all these things are much better tools for scaling than a service. A service is something where you bring a lot of value, make good money, and create an audience and opportunities to make these other tools, which are then scalable. So that's kind of the way I think about it.
All right. So, how quickly you know which business is good to market and how you actually figure out the stuff?
Well, the only point of running a business is making money, right? If you're not making money, you're not doing anything. You might have a hobby,
Yeah.
So if something is not making money fairly quickly and you are sure that it's not your fault or your positioning, then you kill that business and move on to something else, or you just reinvent it, maybe reposition. Most businesses, if you offer the right value, you're going to make money. It might not be a lot of money. It might be with bad clients because initially you don't know who you're working with, who you should be working with. So all those things might not be great, but at least you should be making some sort of an income. If you're not known in your space, then obviously people will not want to pay you much because the trust issues there. There's no case studies. You just haven't brought enough experience, but you still should be able to sell something, right?
All right.
Now, the barrier of entry is important too. If you are selling something that everybody else can sell and there's nothing that makes you different, it's going to be very hard. And often I would stay away from those type of businesses. So
So you actually
your
figure out.
personality.
Yeah, definitely. So
So initially, you want to figure. Yeah, go ahead.
you actually figure out this stuff like from the inner perspective of the business that it should work or not. This way, you actually, I believe, you figure out how to choose a good business to market, right?
Well, so the only things you can really choose is your business model and what you're going to sell, right?
Right.
Everything else, your audience will decide for you, right? Like even when we're testing ads, like I was just working with a client this morning. She gave me 5 videos and something. She's like, okay, which ones did you pick, Tom? I was like, it doesn't matter what I pick. We're going to put it out there. I'll let the audience decide, and I'll let you know which one won in a couple days or weeks, whatever. So your audience will give you all the feedback you need, but the paying audience, the people who get stuff for free from you, their advice is worthless, and I would not even listen to it. Only the paying audience matters. But as I said, initially the audience might not be paying you a lot, right? So you could be starting off and barely breaking even. I don't recommend ever giving anything for free. Like some people will be like, well, I'm going to do a couple of things for free, get some reviews and stuff. I don't think that makes sense at all. Because if you've done it for free, those people don't matter. What they say doesn't matter. Only a paid client can actually tell you, because they've put some money into it, there's some skin in the game, how valuable you are and how good you are, right? So that's the only advice that matters. But after that, it's all about you, right? So you got to promote yourself. You got to bring up your name like you're doing now with these interviews, bringing us on. So social proof is definitely there for you. And with all that, that's when your money is going to start increasing too. People go on your website, you brought on all these people and stuff. You definitely know what you're doing. Even though it
Yeah,
has nothing to do with your actual thing that you're selling, it helps you elevate the brand, right? So that's
definitely.
the second step. Yeah.
All right. So in this pandemic of COVID-19, what are the major differences have been occurred in the marketing industry? Like what challenges you faced or you noticed growth in sales for some people of your clients? Share with us.
I mean, for me, it became easier.
All right.
Before the pandemic, I think I looked at my market and there were about 80,000 possible course creators or online educators, right? Since the pandemic, it's over 250,000. Like it increased tremendously, right? So it was luck. For me, it was lucky that the market became much, much bigger. If you had a brick and mortar business, you're probably suffering a lot. But in the online space, most of the people are making a killing.
So, what do you suggest to the businesses who are facing some kind of marketing and getting more sales challenges in their business? How would you actually give them an advice to start selling online?
Well, here's what I think. And I think as a business, you should kind of consider what I'm going to say now. The main difference that happened now with the pandemic, right, is people who did not like doing things online have been forced to do things online, right?
All right,
People who would never take an online course before, they're kind of forced to. Colleges are forcing kids to do it, middle schools. Well, yeah.
definitely.
People who would never order anything online. With the pandemic, in a lot of places, you could only get delivery, right? So what you need to understand is that even when the pandemic ends, right, no one's going to go to do something in a harder way than they got used to and learned now. Like if my parents know how to go on Amazon.com now and order like a bunch of things, they're not going to go to hardware stores and drive around the city looking for things because they've been forced and now know how to do this, right? So I know a lot of businesses are looking towards the end of this pandemic, and it's going to end eventually. Um, but some of the behaviors will change because people found an easier way. It's not that it's a new normal. It's like if
Definitely.
you learn how to do something quicker and more efficiently, why would you not?
Yeah,
Especially since you've been forced into it and now are used to it. So the marketing, is still the same. You still need to, match your service or product, the message with the audience. But I would not hope that they're going to go into their old ways and habits if they were tougher than what they're doing now, right? So it could be that you maybe marketed things in the offline world much more,
Yeah,
but the people are so used to doing things online where now you're sort of kind of will be forced into entering this space. And I'm not saying if that's good or bad.
yeah. But they
It's
will
just
be
the
forced,
reality,
definitely.
like
Yeah,
we've been
definitely.
forced to, yeah, just forced, right? And the people will now be used to it, and that's the problem for a lot of the businesses, the old way. So even when I looked locally here, at the restaurants, the restaurants who are doing the best are the ones who have the best presence online. They're the most responsive online. They put the best pictures online, and any of them could do it, but it's only a few. And they realize this, that now that's just the way we do things. We look on Facebook, we look on Grab, we look on Uber Eats, like all these apps. And if you're not dominating those, and that's the easiest way to advertise for you, you're going to have a problem. And waiting and hoping that people go back to their ways of, hey, I'm going to walk around the streets, like there's a million tourists looking for restaurants. You might not be able to survive until that time. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Like those
Yeah.
are big differences now, So yeah, that's really the only advice. You got to think like the customer, and customers always want the easiest way.
So in this pandemic, everybody is just putting their content online, like a lot of businesses, a lot of bigger businesses, smaller businesses, or new businesses who are just starting their online transformation for their businesses. Do you think the SEO will become a little more difficult, or you think it will be like more easier? What are your opinions on this?
I mean, SEO, I think it's always been the same. Initially, you could game Google much more, so the spots would change every single week. You'd have complete. Now it takes much longer, but the same rules apply. Putting content out a lot might or might not be a good thing for your business. So I'll tell you the way we approach it, because I'm very lazy when it comes to my SEO, and I've been doing it long enough. What I advise is get a couple of real good pieces of content out on your website, maybe 2 or 3, right? Something
Right.
that's, long and exactly has to do with your industry and can convert people into buyers. Then make a system where you every single week or every single month get as many backlinks from good people as possible, whether it's other blogs or podcasts. This is one of the systems how, you actually reached out to me, but we have a whole team that reaches out to people, get me on podcasts. We've done 50 last year. And it's all
Wow.
about getting backlinks, right?
Right.
So when we really started focusing on it, it took a while, but within the last 6 months, what I found that some of the big initial articles, which I was kind of using as benchmarks, they went from position 30, 40 to like 6, 7, 4 without me doing anything else. And at that point, that's when you know that if you put any article out, it's got a big chance of landing in the top 10 as soon as you put it out. And that's when we're going back into content creation now, while still getting more backlinks, because I want to make sure that the website, but I really advise making systems, something that's very easy and where that you got to either show up for a podcast or write this blog post, have someone else do the outreach, and consistently just get the backlinks. And when you see some of these articles rank really well, that's when it's time to start writing things again.
So, Tom, in your personal life, what was the single most failure that you recall from your professional life? What was lesson learned, and how did you recover from it?
In my professional life, so initially when I was running my businesses, I did not take control in consideration as much. So when we were doing the SEO business, we were all reliant on Google. When we were playing around with the publishing industry, we were all relying on the Kindle and Amazon system. And it's a horrible thing to do. Like one of our main websites that we were using for SEO, I remember got burnt by Google, right? we recovered, but again, you're starting from scratch and have to redo it. We were using block networks for a lot of our clients, like about 10 years ago. They all got destroyed, and we had to recover from that. Zero control. With the Kindle thing, also, it's we invested so much money, put out books, and we were making a lot, but they kept changing the rules. Initially we would get like
Definitely.
$1.50 per rental, then it was like not even 1 cent per page, like all this nonsense, zero control. So the biggest failures were investing in businesses that we knew are not long term and we can't control. Horrible. Because we had to restart multiple times. Yeah, it made us money, and yeah, we gained experience, but it was something that always we hit a wall that you just can't get over because we don't own the business. Like the wall that we hit is like, well, Amazon is the only one that can fix it, or Google, right? So
Definitely.
the way
They
we
can.
recovered is we created a business that we control.
All right.
That was the main thing. Like we no longer care about anyone. Facebook, Google, any of them go under, we wouldn't care less.
Definitely. So this is the best thing, I think, to be in control of your own business. Like people do invest a lot of money just to
Yeah.
make money, and somebody just came in and they changed the rule. Their all time and their investment financially just goes in van. Almost, I would say in van, as a lot of people face challenges. Definitely, this is a very good advice. So, Tom, what are the 3 actionable steps that others can get as a cheat sheet and implement right now in their marketing business?
Well, the main thing is, look over what you're doing and, create systems around things that can be delegated, right? If it's making you money and you're doing it a lot, that's something that can probably go into a system. Not like one-off things, but systems will free you. They've been the best thing. The second thing, simplify your message, simplify what you're selling, your services. You can often make much more money easier if you do that than creating all these complicated things that. The last thing I would say, and this is not really as much marketing, but I think it will help you with a lot of headaches. Don't ever let clients run your business. You need to figure out what you need to do, what you want to do, and say no to anything that's out of what your expertise. Even if someone says like, hey, can you do this and that? Like for us, we just had someone talking to us about course marketing, and like, yeah, okay, and then they're saying, can you also help us build up our YouTube channel and our podcast following and reviews? And we're like, we would love to, but we won't.
All right.
It's not what we do. Let's focus on our business. And it does 2 things. It lets us, one, bring the most value, right?
Right.
And then we also don't hate what we're doing, because like if someone tells me to do something different now, it's like, oh my God, like so annoying. Like this is not what I want, And 3, the client can often get better value somewhere else, because there are the
Definitely.
people who are much better at those 2 things. Yeah, but for what most business people do is they will just say yes to all of it. Oh, because he's going to pay more or she's going to pay more. And it's often something that destroys your business in the long run, because you hate what you're doing, you have no vision, you're all over the place. You need to learn how to say no. Do not let
Definitely.
clients run your business.
All right. So do not let clients run your business. Learn how to say no and do what you love. Don't go
Yes.
after money, go after your purpose. So these are the 3 best actionable steps that every other marketer get as a cheat sheet. All right, guys. So the credentials are here for the Tom's website and their social media. You can go and follow them. And if you are just struggling with your online courses, your business marketing, please reach out to Tom, guys. They would love to actually uh, see your stuff. All right, Tom, thank you so much for joining us today on the behalf of Success Secrets team and our entire viewers. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.